There are some pretty big bottom signals flashing around the crypto market, and I'm not saying price can't go lower, but these usually indicate we're kind of at that pivot or so. And I want to show you guys exactly what I mean. But what I found kind of interesting too, looking at the data, is that ADA never really did what a lot of other assets did on this last run to the upside, which I think is actually a pretty good sign. So if you guys are new or haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that bell. It's free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So right now it's about 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. US money is just about to wake up. We're kind of seeing a little bit of that chop. And right now, just by my calculations, James Wynn's position, just so you guys are updated on this, will have in fact been liquidated. So hopefully it's just a BTC price drop and alts actually show a little bit of resilience. We didn't get a chance to look at BTC dominance earlier today, but I did want to show you guys too. We're just sticking right around that trend. And we're just waiting for our moment that we do in fact drop off. We've gotten a few teases here. We got one obviously in the early part of the last week. We got one in the later part of the prior week. So there's the potential that, as the early part of the week progresses, that we could get one of these where we get shot back down to about that 50-day moving average. Just something to watch very closely there. Now, what I will say is we're getting a lot of these bottom signals for ADA and around the crypto market. One of the big things I love to gauge is the sentiment of the community. And when you start seeing a lot of those ADA's dead comments and it's not doing anything and all-time highs aren't coming, that's usually a good sign that we're about to take a next leg. It doesn't always work out that way, but usually when those bears start to show up once again, that's a great sign for what comes next, because then they get really quiet as things go on some nice runs to the upside. And what I found very interesting about this, and hopefully I didn't lose my spot here, is that over the last 3 days, we've actually seen about $120 million worth of open interest removed from ADA. Now we're still at this imbalance more to the short side. That's not surprising. We tend to be weighted to the short side unless ADA is going on these rip roaring runs, which it hasn't really as of late. I mean, we obviously had a nice one back here on the 8th or so, but for the most part, it's been pretty quiet, the last week and a half, 2 weeks or so. And that's okay. I'm okay with retracements. I don't like it, but I understand that it's an essential part of what comes. And this drop off in open interest and this return back to kind of the mean when it comes to this long short ratio is usually a good sign, because we have seen this many times before, right before ADA's gone on its next leg, its next explosion to the upside. All right. Now, this isn't a guarantee or financial advice. Nobody knows what's going to happen for sure, but there is some consistency when it comes to this. Now, what I did find interesting as well, and I guess I didn't really notice this before, is when we look around the crypto market, there is an insane amount of open interest. That means a lot of long and short leverage being used around the crypto space. And we're still currently at a spot where there's over $140 billion in open interest spread throughout the crypto market, right? These are still at the levels that we were seeing back in February of this year, where we had our major liquidation events across the crypto space. BTC is at all-time highs, or around all-time highs in terms of open interest, and many other assets are doing the same thing. But ADA never really got to that point. In fact, right now, we're still down at about $806 million in open interest for ADA. Those February highs, guys, those were around $1.2 billion. So we're down about, 30% or so from those highs, which I don't really know how to read that, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I guess it's good because you don't have an insane amount of people betting against ADA. Yes, they're present, but at the same time, what this means is that we can't, not that we can't, but that we're less likely to have a major liquidation event in the same sense that we would see with other assets throughout the space. Like if we got pushed into some major downside in terms of BTC, it seems like ADA could in fact stomach a drop a little bit better. And at the same time, right now, there's still this huge compression of short interest above where ADA price is at currently. And I wanted to pull up the ADA liquidation map, and it wasn't cooperating this morning. The site just will not load, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. All right, so it will load. There we go. So when we look at this ADA liquidation heat map here, you're going to see a very consistent theme, and that is that there's a lot of fuel still just sitting here waiting for ADA to take advantage of, right? So for example, look at the 1 week chart, guys, and you're going to be surprised at just how thick the concentration is. I mean, there's so much of it right here. And when we look at long interest, yes, there is some down below here, sitting right below here, but it's much more elongated. It's much more spread out than it is on short interest to the upside. So it's ADA is kind of doing it's kind of doing its own thing. It's not, right? We're still just kind of following the crypto market, but this is where ADA does have the potential to kind of do its own thing. One, because of the different, not condensation, because the leverage is condensed in a different way than it is many other assets in the crypto space. But two, because it doesn't have these major LPs with other assets as well. That's why there have been plenty of times where ADA has been able to separate and decorrelate from the crypto market. Yes, the market usually, catches up and does something similar, but this might again be a moment where ADA kind of does its own thing. I'm not saying that's going to happen for sure, but definitely something to watch as we move through the rest of this week. I think something that would be incredibly bullish for ADA, don't know if it's going to happen or not, is if we do in fact get a surge again as the day goes on and we have another Dragonfly Doji candle. That would probably be the most bullish sign you could see. And then I believe that is where ADA would probably see, one of these pops, one of these, 10, 15% pops or so. So we'll just have to be patient and watch and wait and see how things play out. Yes, there is a lot of negativity in the market. Yes, there's the intrusion, I guess, of negative news once again, but the market, I think, is getting a little bit more resilient to this. Yes, we dropped off it just off this last back half of the week, but basically it's a question of, what does institutional money do this week? If institutional money is buying, I think we're going to have a green week. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.